Welcome to Arts in the City. I'm Anne Riddell. We're here in Long Island City at Socrates Sculpture Park, and we'll tell you more about this gorgeous waterfront museum a little later in the show. But first, New York City has a rich history of immigration. Millions of people have crossed oceans to change their lives and start anew. The Tenement Museum on the Lower East Side offers neighborhood tours showing what that American dream was really like for immigrants in the 19th and 20th centuries. Mike Gilliam visited the Tenement Museum to find out more.
Many people think of the Lower East Side as a place for hipsters, cool restaurants, and bars. But this neighborhood for decades was a place where millions of immigrants came to escape persecution and poverty and to live the American dream. They built New York City to its greatness, and you can learn more about their stories when you visit the Tenement Museum located at 97 Orchard Street.
This is a place where you can learn about the waves of German migration, Irish immigration, Jewish immigration, Italian immigration, all of it that came between 1863 and 1935 is housed here.
Here in an actual tenement, which was home to over 7,000 immigrants during a 70-year period. The building was later restored to tell the story of how immigrants shaped New York.
Unlike other historic houses that focus on famous people, industrialists, or presidents, or writers, here the focus is on ordinary people. What was daily life like for a tailor, for a housewife trying to make ends meet during the Great Depression? What was it like to be a German saloon keeper and saloon keeper's wife who are trying to feed all the German immigrants who've come into the neighborhood?
What makes this museum unique is learning the stories of the people who lived here by educator-led tours through their restored apartments, like visiting the Levine family apartment, which was also a garment workshop.
We're standing in the recreated apartment of Harris and Jenny Levine. The average tenement apartment size was about 325 square feet. You had a parlor, a kitchen, and a smaller room, which usually served as a bedroom. Keep in mind that depending on the era, depending on the time, most rooms served the purpose of a bedroom. You'd unroll mattresses or put chairs together to create beds to house all the people living here. In addition to the 5 children growing up here, Harris and Jenny would have hired at least 3 other workers to help them produce the dresses. And keep in mind, although that dress is made in a tenement apartment, it's going to go to Macy's or it's going to go to a catalog. Certainly not Jenny Levine. Jenny Levine will not wear that dress. She just makes the dress, or her family makes the dress.
By the early 1900s, the Lower East Side was the most densely populated place in the world. Reformers like Jacob Riis and Lillian Wald uncovered the horrible crowding and unsanitary conditions of the tenements.
This is the toilet, and this was a big deal because this is a huge improvement over what had been, because what had been here was nothing. People, when they used the bathroom, had to go outside and use privies. When the toilets came in 1905, and they only came in because of the 1901 Tenement Housing Act, which required toilets. And it was a big deal. And you can see right behind the toilet is a window onto an air shaft. That air shaft had to be cut out of a building. And so what that means is what had been a bedroom for the apartments had to be basically erased because they needed to have the air shaft in order to ventilate the toilet.
When you tour these family apartments, so many parallels can be drawn to immigrant groups today in the city.
Our tour Shop Life that talks about the stores of immigrants, you start with the German family, the Schneiders, John and Caroline Schneider, who set up a saloon. In that saloon, immigrants came to read German newspapers or listen to German music. They also came to debate politics. You can walk around Chinatown and see many clubs and many societies where you see Chinese men starting to talk about politics. We have 5 building tours, and so depending on which tour you go on, you're going to see a different floor of the tenement, and you'll see 2 apartments, usually 2 families, or you'll see several stores. Not only can you tour this building in all of its detail, you can tour the neighborhood through 5 different walking tours.
Even a food tour of the Lower East Side. Beginning from a shuttered tenement in 1988, the Tenement Museum now attracts over 200,000 visitors a year. With so much variety of tours and educators, people can come back again and again to get a new perspective on the immigrant experience.
Our whole city is shaped by the work of immigrants, and this museum tells the story of some of those early workers. And because our mission is to connect past to present, when you come here, it's not just entering a dollhouse to learn about history and, oh, isn't that cute? It's really to learn about history, to understand the dynamics that are playing out outside on the streets of New York today. So you should come here if you care about New York.
The Tenement Museum plans to continue telling the story of immigration to New York City by expanding in 2017. That expansion is going to take place here at 103 Orchard Street, just above the Visitors Center. They'll be focusing on the stories of Chinese immigrants, Puerto Rican migrants, and Holocaust survivors who settled here after World War II. I'm Mike Gilliam for Arts in the City.
Due to the popularity of the tours, the Tenement Museum recommends booking them in advance at www.tenement.org. In the past, we've profiled a jazz drummer, followed a high school jazz competition all the way to Lincoln Center, and found some of the best jazz clubs in Harlem. Now, Lisa Beth Kovetz shows you a weekly jazz performance you can enjoy in the comfort of a Bed Stuy apartment.
New York is full of amazing musical experiences. Here in Brooklyn, you can step back in time to an evening of acoustic jazz here at Bed Stuy's own Brownstone Jazz. Owner Debbie McLean never set out to run the neighborhood jazz spot, but when she inherited her grandparents' brownstone, she saw it as an opportunity to revive the long-standing tradition of the jazz house party.
The music is the party. The music, the jazz.
You call yourself a caretaker and not an owner.
Yes, we are a 6th generation family. My grandmother is still the owner, and I take care of their property. So I'm the caretaker, the caregiver. Yes, I want to make sure that the 7th generation will have something to present, to show people what an original style brownstone is like. We have not changed it. I first turned it into a bed and breakfast, and then came a jazz house. And that was more to preserve something that we were losing. The sound that wasn't being played anymore. And I had such a desire to do this jazz in Brooklyn. I wanted to hear the type of jazz that we do here. We call it Brownstone Jazz. And we get people from all over the world. And before our jazz starts, before the music starts, with some wine, cheese, crackers, things like that, and just some chit chat. And then we turn around, and about an hour later, we open up the room, and the musicians take their places, and the music begins.
There's a lot of rich stuff in this community. And instead of talking about it, we'll just lay it down musically. Is that okay? Yeah. And maybe later on we'll get into more about who's who in this great community called Bed Stuy.
When the music starts, the room belongs to bass player Eric Lemon.
So an hour and a half of music, and then around 10:30, we go into a fish fry, and we serve a buffet of fried whitings and slore, and cornbread. Again, more talk, more chit chat. I did mention the cornbread, didn't I? Okay.
The artists and owners join the audience for dinner, making Brownstone Jazz one of the most interesting and intimate musical evenings in the city. But the night doesn't end there.
And then we got that. we go back in for another hour, at least another hour of music. And we open up the floor. We welcome other people to get up and perform.
One of the most memorable volunteers on the open mic second set was NBC's Lester Holt, who, by all accounts, was a fine addition to the groove. From Bed Stuy, Brooklyn, this has been Lisa Beth Kovetz for Arts in the City.
From the Lindy Hop to house dance to break dance, New York City holds claim to many different forms of dance. One relatively new dance style that was born in East New York is known as FLEXN, and it's taking the world by storm.
FLEXN is a culture of dance. FLEXN doesn't have a particular look because it's really an expression of who you are. As far as being free as a dancer. The name FLEXN came from a show called FLEXN Brooklyn that used to air on VCAT on Channel 68, like every Friday night at 9. A lot of the dancers that danced in the show, we were all doing a style called the Bruck Up. Bruck Up is a person, number one. George Adams, that's his name. He's the guy who invented the Bruck Up. Bruck Up is pretty much the Jamaican terms in patois called broke up. You broke, you're broke in certain ways. Through Bruck Up, we had that foundation and said, you know what, can we create and be our own person? You know what I'm saying? That's when we started to become who we are. You don't have to be double jointed to be a flexor at all. It's all a stretch. You can take yoga and then you'll probably be able to do some flexing moves. Even if you have something that's really weird with you, like maybe one leg is shorter than the other leg, like that's all part of flexing. You're not looked at as a misfit. You looked at as somebody powerful now because you know how to use what you have to the best of your ability. The styles of flexing are pausing, bone breaking, gliding, connecting, get low, punchlines, and hat tricks. My style is called pausing. Now, pausing is a style that I came up with because I got beat really bad in a battle. This guy named Iggy, he did me really bad, and I wanted to stop dancing. Like, yo, this is it. So it's like, okay, cool. I just want to come up with something that's just gonna just kill everything that he ever did. We used to watch videos of ourselves doing, playing rewind and forward, back and forth, just to see how we look. And I'm just watching it like, yo, so y'all gonna dance like that, And then I put on this beat. It was the headache rhythm. I remember like it was yesterday, and then it just said do 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 do. So I'm hearing this beat, and I'm like, nah. And I'm just trying to hit it. I became more obsessed with beats and trying to hit beats the right way. So that's where it came from. Like, it was just that motivation, that creativity, and what he did to make me do what I do. Flex tunes is music pretty much mostly in a Jamaican form, Jamaican music, reggae, dancehall reggae to be more specific. We used to make tapes, and our tapes used to have all this music in it. So we started manipulating the music more and more. So that started becoming flex tunes because it was just always manipulating the music. The Dream Ring is dance rules everything around me. That's the acronym for Dream. I am the CEO and creator. I wanted to create something in Brooklyn for flex dancers that want to really come out and dance in a group or a team and be team oriented. It's 2011 since we've actually started. We've been to Manchester. We've been to Paris. I've been to Italy working with some of my dancers from the Ringmasters, back and forth to Cali, Atlanta. And then we created this show called FLEXN. That was in the Park Avenue Armory. We actually did it with a director. His name is Peter Sellers. Peter is a great visionary. He came with this concept of saying, let's do something about the juvenile justice system. We started tackling political issues, things that started surrounding Eric Garner, Michael Brown, in that situation. And it's something that was pretty much on the hearts of some flexors. And then from there, me and Peter started collaborating on everything else. I love him to death. Like, he's a mentor, and he's really put me on a path to a different light and to upgrade my career. In life, Dream helps dancers to be better people as far as helping someone. sharing someone, sharing ideas, sharing knowledge, not just to be all about you, being able to help the dancers, honestly. I think that's my motivation. That is what keeps me going. The fact that the dancers actually have a platform to grow, to be different people, to be better people. And I do this for the love. I love dancing. And I'm like, yo, I want to do that for somebody else too. Why not give that gift back?
New York is known for many things, but less known for the creation of some foods loved worldwide. Tinabeth Pina has the story.
We all know about New York pizza and Nathan's hot dogs, but I bet you didn't know that you can go anywhere around the world and order a 4-course sit-down dinner with food invented right here in New York City.
We have so many different cultures here in New York that we can find any kind of food from any area of the world. Whether it's brought here or invented here, New York has it.
Joanne Jacobs and Susan Lowry are instructors at City Tech's hospitality program, which teaches its students how to plate, serve, and prepare a variety of dishes.
Today we're going to explore some of them that we actually teach here at City Tech.
Whether it's learning how to dice or julienne a vegetable or saute, the students are exposed to a variety of techniques and foods through our curriculum.
Today's lesson includes 4 dishes that were invented in New York that can be served as a 4-course meal. And any great sit-down dinner starts off with a great first course.
We're going to have a Manhattan clam chowder. It's a tomato-based soup that, it's really clear broth, and the tomatoes were added for flavor and color. The tomatoes became popular in the 1800s when the Italian immigration was at its height. It's been called many other names before it was Manhattan clam chowder. It was called Fulton Fish Market chowder, Coney Island clam chowder, and New York clam chowder.
Adding tomatoes to clam chowder was strongly discouraged in some parts of the Northeast. Legend has it the title Manhattan Style was given by New Englanders who disapproved of New York's take on their local dish.
So every great New York soup is followed by a great New York salad, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Our next course is a Waldorf salad, which was invented right here in New York at the Waldorf Hotel by Oscar Turchke, who was the maitre d' hotel. He wasn't a chef. He actually ran the front of the house at the Waldorf, but he was very famous in the hospitality industry. Everybody knew him, and he created this salad in 1896 for the opening of the Waldorf Astoria. And classically, it's diced apples and celery mixed with mayonnaise and served on a bed of lettuce. We kind of did a little twist on it today. We did a different kind of vegetable cut to change up the lesson, so they get a little more practice doing allumettes, which are long matchsticks, and we added walnuts. So walnuts are one of the options that you see in the versions of Waldorf salad. Some people put raisins in there. Grapes are another option that we've seen, and we've also added a chantilly sauce, which we lightened the mayonnaise with a little soft whipped cream just to lighten up the whole dish.
In 1934, the salad cemented its place in history when Cole Porter sang about it in his hit, You're the Top.
You're the top. You're a Waldorf salad.
Now, our third course is the main entree, which was created at one of the most iconic establishments in New York City, right?
Right. Delmonico's is known for creating a lot of foods that are iconic to New York, but a 20-ounce boneless ribeye steak. This is the one that most people agree upon. It was an 20-ounce steak cut to 2 inches thick and then pounded thinner. So the steak could either be grilled, pan-fried, or broiled with several side dishes.
What if you're not a steak eater or a steak lover and you want chicken or you want seafood? Are there iconic New York invented dishes that one can order as their main entree?
Not just in New York, but El Delmonico's. They were known for lobster Newburg. It was created there, and it was basically lobster cooked in a cream and butter sauce. It had sherry in it. The whole thing about lobster Newburg is there was egg yolks in there to thicken the sauce, so it was a very rich, heavy dish. And they're also known for inventing chicken a la king, which is chicken also in a cream sauce, usually served over rice. One of the famous options from New York for vegetarians is pasta primavera. And everybody thinks, oh, it's Italian, and it probably has its origins in Italy. But in the 70s, somebody taught it to Sirio Macchioni, who's the owner of Le Cirque. They started making it for their special clients, and it wound up on the menu at Le Cirque. So the pasta primavera is basically seasonal vegetables. It has a cream sauce with some cheese, usually some Parmesan cheese, refined pasta dish.
So any great four-course meal is going to be followed by a great dessert.
New York-style cheesecake. Cheesecake's been around forever, a really long time. They used to serve it at the Olympics in Greece. What makes New York cheesecake special is that it has the addition of cream cheese instead of cottage cheese or quark or other cheeses that are used. Arnold Rubin ate some cheesecake at someone's house. He was a chef at the Turf restaurant in New York, and he went back and reinvented cheesecake and made the quintessential New York cheesecake with cream cheese. And of course, in New York, we all refer to Junior's as the place to get a New York-style cheesecake, which has graham cracker crumbs on the bottom. Sometimes it's served with a slice of sponge cake, a cream cheese filling with either sour cream or heavy cream, and it's baked in a water bath.
And there you have it, a four-course sit-down dinner, New York style. Another reason why New York City is one of the best, if not most delicious cities in the world. For Arts in the City, I'm Tinabeth Pina.
James Patterson is the king of the crime novel. With a new book published practically monthly, he most likely holds a spot in your library. But now he's planning a new venture you might not expect.
Hi, I'm Ernabel DeMillo. I'm at Book Expo America, the largest publishing event in the country. And this is where James Patterson just made a big announcement. I spoke with him about his mission to make children lifelong readers.
When James Patterson writes, people read. When he speaks at Book Expo America, people listen. Fans gathered as he announced his new venture, his own publishing imprint called Jimmy Patterson, targeting young readers.
The mission of this imprint, Jimmy, is that when kids finish a Jimmy book, that they'll say, please give me another book.
But getting kids to read for pleasure may be quite a challenge. According to the latest data on children's reading habits, there has been a drop in reading among all kids, especially adolescents. 53% of 9-year-olds report they read for fun, while 27% of 13-year-olds and 19% of 17-year-olds say they read for fun. Patterson hopes to change that by making his books hard to put down. His imprint will release 8 to 12 children's books a year, focusing on middle school and young adult fiction. He says he'll write most of the books, but they will also acquire books from other writers.
I'm James Patterson, and this is the best book I ever wrote.
Patterson has already published books aimed at young readers. His children's book serials, including iFunny and Treasure Hunters, have already sold 30 million copies.
So why start your own imprint?
Partly just clarity. It's so clear in terms of what we're going to do. This notion of that mission of when kids finish one of our books, they're going to say, please give me another book.
His goal is to reach more kids, especially at-risk kids, kids who may not have the access to books.
If those kids, if they're not readers, they're going to have trouble in high school. It's going to be painful, or they won't get through, and then they're going to have a lot of trouble, most of them, out in the world. My hope for high school students is by the time they leave high school, they've been exposed to 100 or 200 voices. Not that they have to read, Finnegan's Wake, which they shouldn't, but that they've heard enough voices and they've been exposed to enough ways of looking at the world.
He will donate his earnings to his literacy projects, which include scholarships for aspiring teachers, money to fund independent bookstores, and free books to libraries and schools. In the last 3 years, he has given more than 1 million books away. Getting kids to read for pleasure is a big challenge, but Patterson may be the person to do it. The former advertising executive is one of the world's most popular authors. 114 of his books are New York Times bestsellers, and he has sold more than 300 million books worldwide. But he says he'll need help, specifically from parents.
One of the keys is, parents that are watching, it's your job. parents. It's your job. It's not the school's job. It's your job. And parents will come up to me. I can't get my kid to read. I'm going like, well, do you get them to the dinner table? Yeah. Do you have rules in the house like no, don't track mud in on the rug? Yeah. We have to get them reading. Because if you don't get your own kids reading, it's like sending them out into the world with a handicap. And you wouldn't do that, not if you could do something about it.
And his adult fans needn't worry. He'll continue to write and release crime thrillers.
The adult books will continue. There's a Women's Murder Club out right now, and then Truth or Die is coming out over the summer, which is it's a neat thriller. I mean, it's a page turner. It keeps you. Somebody said what James's books do is the pages turn themselves.
And James Patterson is keeping very busy this summer. Along with his publishing imprint, he's ventured into television with a new scripted show based on his best-selling novel, Zoo. I'm Ernabel DeMillo for Arts in the City.
Once an abandoned landfill, this park was created by a group of local artists who wanted to turn it into an exhibition space and neighborhood park. Each summer, a new set of artists are given freedom to exhibit their sculptures, art, and projects. This summer's exhibitions include The Living Pyramid from Agnes Dennis, Two Trees in Balance from Gabriela Albergaria, and IK Studios' Folly, Torquering Spheres. In partnership with Film Forum and in its 17th year, Socrates Sculpture Park's Outdoor Cinema Film Festival features screenings of movies from all over the globe every Wednesday evening during all of July and August. Socrates Sculpture Park is open 365 days a year from 10 a.m. to sunset, and admission is free. That's our show for today. For more information on any of our stories or to watch them anytime, just visit our website at the link below. I'm Anne Riddell. Thanks for watching Arts in the City.